So please join me in welcoming His Grace Chaitanya Charan Prabhu.
Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Dharine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Dear Lord Krishna, please guide us so that we can better appreciate the devotion and dedication of your great devotee Srila Prabhupada and become his better servants. I'm grateful to be here with all of you today, and this Markine Bhagavat Dharma is probably among my favorite Vaishnava song. So I'll speak on 3 principles of devotion that we can learn, that Srila Prabhupada himself has not only spoken on but has demonstrated. And so corresponding to that, we'll sing only 3 lines from this song. It's a fairly long song and we have finite time. So I'll talk about, so each principle, I'll be talking using an acronym ADD, A-D-D. How we can add value to whatever situation we are in, whatever service we are doing, whatever situation we find ourselves in. So the first is acceptance. But acceptance, we all have to accept the situation we are in. But we can accept with resentment or we can accept with appreciation. The first stanza actually of the song is what demonstrates this acceptance with appreciation. So I'll tell the meaning of the stanza, then we will sing it, and then I'll speak something on it. So we can sing maybe 2-3 times that same line, and after that we'll discuss the meaning, and then again maybe 3-4 times you can sing that stanza again. We'll contemplate the meaning and try to appreciate that, and then we'll go to the next stanza which we'll sing afterwards. So Srila Prabhupada is on the Jaladuta, coming close to the American coastline, beholding the continent that he has set off for this long and troubled journey across the sea. And what are the first words that Prabhupada speaks? Boro Krupa Kaile. Krishna, you have been immensely merciful. And Adamera Prati, this fallen soul, you have been very merciful. Ki lagiya Anila. You brought me here, Koro Ebegati. Now do with me whatever you wish. I have wondered, and what is this mercy that Prabhupada is talking about? Boro Krupa Koile. That if we consider from the material perspective, Prabhupada practically had nothing. He was coming to a place where no one knew him. He had no followers, he had no money, he had no institutional backing, his health was also suspect. He had survived and recovered from the heart attack, but still, there's a question. So my understanding is that when we think about mercy, there can be many aspects to it. But Prabhupada is simply grateful to have the opportunity for service. Now, along with opportunity, we need facility. So Prabhupada has literally zero facility for service. But that he has the opportunity for service itself, that toward the fag end of his life, he has now the opportunity to be in America and try to fulfill the instruction of his spiritual master. That Prabhupada is expressing gratitude just for that. So that acceptance, it's a situation which is very difficult, but acceptance with appreciation. Appreciation that at least I have the opportunity for service. So let's recite this. So here, if we consider this acceptance with appreciation, Prabhupada is in an extremely difficult situation, and he has, in one sense, no idea what the future is going to bring. Prabhupada said that when I landed, I didn't know whether to turn left or right. So at the same time, when we see Srila Prabhupada, especially if we read the accounts of those who met Srila Prabhupada when he was in those early days in America, whether it was first Butler in Pennsylvania or then later he came here to New York, one of the things that struck everyone was that Prabhupada was so happy speaking about Krishna. Now, if you look at Srila Prabhupada's life, from both a material perspective and a spiritual perspective. From material perspective, of course, for a pure devotee, everything is spiritual. But from a material perspective, in the sense that he tried to start a business, there had been practically no success. If we consider Srila Prabhupada, now just assume this is a map of India. It is not. But say Prabhupada was here in Kolkata. Then from there he went to the other coast, that's Mumbai. And then he went to Allahabad, in Prayag basically. So now at those times, people didn't travel so much. I have a friend who studied Indian pre-independence history, and mobility was not that common in those times. And here, it was not just Prabhupada was traveling, Prabhupada had actually relocated and started an entire business. So it's extreme hard work. Mr. Jaritap was telling me that he came from London to here. It's challenging to find her to settle in a new place. So Prabhupada had done that. And what is he driven by? He was driven by the desire to support his spiritual master's vision with financial resources that he would get from his business. And somehow it did not work. Each time something or the other went wrong. Sometime a fire occurs and one of his servants just betrayed him. And normally when this kind of setbacks occur, it's very devastating at times. And when you get setbacks and failures again and again, it's very easy, it's almost natural, you could say, to become bitter. But those who met Srila Prabhupada, they never noticed any sense of this bitterness at all. So if we look at the track record of his life, things had not been much successful for him, materially speaking. Now spiritually speaking also, he had tried to start the League of Devotees and there was not much to show. So Prabhupada had tried to work with his god brothers. Prabhupada had tried to run a magazine. The one thing that Prabhupada had to show was his Bhagavatam volumes. So he had that, which he carried with him. The first canto he published in 3 volumes. But spiritually, Prabhupada didn't have that much to show. He was not a celebrated spiritual leader in India who is now coming to America. And when someone has repeatedly experienced lack of success, well, it's easy to not only become bitter on one side, but to also become pessimistic. So, because when success doesn't occur, if we are whatever level intelligent or introspective, we look at what all was lacking, what all went wrong. And it's almost natural that when negative events happen to us, we start looking for negative signs in our future prospects. Isn't it? Hey, maybe this indicates maybe I should not be doing this. This indicates I should not be doing this. It's just like if we have had a difficult relationship and then that relationship didn't work out, we're exploring a new relationship, then we are always very, very almost on a high alert to look for some alarm signs. Now, if Prabhupada was he was spiritual, he emphasized a lot of culture and ritual and practices when he started Krishna consciousness. But if Prabhupada had been in any way a superstitious kind of person, then he could have said, maybe this heart attack indicates that Krishna doesn't want me to be here, isn't it? No, of course Prabhupada did tell that Krishna came in a vision and told him. That's also there. But the overall, that was something which he had a personal vision. But what he physically experienced was the shock for his body. So it's a testament to Prabhupada's devotion that even in a situation where he has had a long history, you can say, of negatives happening throughout his life. And now in this tour itself, multiple negatives have happened. Now of course you could say positives have also happened. At least yes, Krishna came in that vision, and then the tangible thing was that the ride through the Atlantic was very calm. And the Captain Pandya, his wife, she says, Swamiji, in our 40 years we never had such a calm ocean. And Prabhupada said, Krishna is taking care of it. And she said, Swami, you come back with us, again we'll have a calm ride. Prabhupada said, no, Krishna has not done this for this purpose. But, so we often say, be positive, don't be negative. But Prabhupada is demonstrating that at a level which is incredibly challenging. When there's negativity all around, just to see that I have an opportunity for service. And so we accept the situation and accept the situation with appreciation. That there is something positive over here. And Prabhupada, you will see how he acted thereafter. But this mood of acceptance with appreciation, that is when we say Bhajatam Priti Purvakam, it is not very easy to have that affection when we may say, I don't want things for myself, I want things for my service. Right? It's material desires getting frustrated. We can say, okay, Krishna is asking me to become spiritually serious. But spiritual desires getting frustrated. Say, what does Krishna want me to do? Isn't it? So, what is it that Krishna wants? Maybe Krishna wants me that I should not have any spiritual desires also. I should just become a Bhajananandi. Just, what does Krishna want? So, when our desires, it's to see something positive and to appreciate that. Right? Materially they are frustrated, spiritually they are frustrated. So then, what do we see at that time? Parikshit Maharaj, we have a similar mood when he suddenly cursed unfairly to die in 7 days. When the sages come after he has renounced the world, he doesn't ask the sages, why did this happen to me? You see, now that this has happened, I'm so grateful that you are here with me to guide me in this transition. So that mood is very much a mood of devotion, that we accept the situation and accept it with some appreciation. Something good will be there over here. So Prabhupada is looking at that good. At last now I have the opportunity to serve my spiritual master. And Boro Krupa Koile Krishna. Krishna, you are so merciful to me. Prabhupada goes on and says that, Krishna, you must have some purpose that which you have brought me here. Otherwise, why would you bring me here? Now, acceptance can easily make a person passive. Okay, I accept the situation and I appreciate it. But okay, there's no facilities, I can't do anything. But Prabhupada has a particular vision of what the problem is and what the solution is. So that brings the second part. D is diligence. Diligence, Prabhupada said something like that enthusiasm is intelligence directed, what is that, constructively or? Intelligence directed constructively. Is it constructively? Something like that. In the act of instruction he says that. So diligence with vision. Right? Okay, I accept the situation, but I'm going to be diligent. I'm going to work hard. And not just work hard, but with a particular vision. So what was Prabhupada's vision? Prabhupada says that Rajastamo Gunera Sabai Acharan. That everybody here is covered by the moods of passion and ignorance. Now his vision is also, we'll see, remarkably, it's not material, it's spiritual, in the sense that he's not seeing the problem from a material perspective. I'm going to speak a foreign message. These people are completely unfamiliar to it. There's a generational gap. My accent is there. There could be a lot of material impediments. But Prabhupada is not looking at any of those impediments. Spiritual vision, he's seeing that the modes are covering people over here. And in one sense, it's almost like Prabhupada is, often we say, make judgments, but don't be judgmental. So, like, you have to make a judgment, but don't become judgmental. So Prabhupada is making a judgment about what the problem is. Prabhupada doesn't say, in fact, it's ironic, or it's ironic as well as significant that Prabhupada is not saying these people are so fallen. He's saying Adhamera Prati, I am so fallen. Prabhupada will make them Khudra Midina Hina. Later on he will say that same thing again. So often we have the vision of Srila Prabhupada as a Acharya who would smash misconceptions, the fools and rascals. Now yes, that was a part of Srila Prabhupada's personality. But at his heart there is the mood of devotion. And that mood of devotion is Prabhupada is saying the problem is the modes are covering people. And so he's making a judgment, but the judge is not being judgmental in the sense that, these people are so fallen, how are they ever going to learn? What are they going to learn? Later on, when Prabhupada came back to India, he came first in 68 and 70s, he came back with a large contingent of devotees. At that time, large, almost 50-60 devotees, he came in a bus to Vrindavan. And he was like for the Vrajvasis, he was like a hometown boy who had become successful. So they celebrated his return. They organized big events in his felicitation. And then one of his godbrothers, he said, Bhaktivedanta Swami has been so successful. It's great. And he said that, we all live as sannyasis. We have lived always very purely. Bhaktivedanta Swami was a grahastha for a long time. He's interacted with all kinds of people. He also managed businesses. So by his business experience, all these fallen people, he was able to make devotees. And basically he was trying to downplay Prabhupada. And he started to see success in mundane terms. But we see Prabhupada, his vision is, he's not calculating from material perspective, this or that. He's seeing the modes are there, the modes are covering people. And what is the solution for that? Prabhupada is saying that, Prabhupada says that if people can just hear the message of the Lord, the Bhagavatera Katha. So actually Prabhupada follows the mood and the style of Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, where the composition is in Bengali, but he profusely quotes Sanskrit verses and passages. So like that, Prabhupada will quote a section from the Bhagavatam. And the whole section is that how, if we consider disease, the modes are like a disease. The infection by the mode, the influence of the modes is like the disease. And then Krishna Katha is the medicine. So Prabhupada is saying that I am going to share this Krishna Katha. So Prabhupada quotes a series of verses from the Bhagavatam where he basically the verses say that how by the modes can be overcome. If you read the Sanskrit verses, Shunatam Sakatha Krishna, these verses go ahead. That if we hear about Krishna, Krishna from within our heart becomes purified, he cleanses our heart. And once the heart is cleansed, then bhakti becomes strong. And then the same problem, the Rajastamo, that same point Prabhupada said, this is a problem, this will be overcome. So Prabhupada quotes these 5 verses over here. Drishtaivatmanishware, towards the end. So here Prabhupada has a plan. So it's when we say, okay, accept the situation, that does not mean that we don't use our intelligence. The Prabhupada is diligent, he's saying, I'm going to speak Krishna's message. And he has a vision that this will cure the infection. So here we'll recite. So Prabhupada saying that here, okay. Rajastamo hate tabe pahibe nistar. That once the Rajastamo guna, the modes get, Prabhupada in one sense translating or rephrasing in Bengali what is said in Sanskrit verses. It's interesting, Prabhupada is not speaking this to anyone, and yet, even in his private meditation, he's quoting Shastra. And we memorize verses, and after memorizing, we want to show others how much I know the verses. Isn't it? So, Prabhupada is personal meditation. So, it is he's quoting these verses, and then he is, for Prabhupada, Bengali is his mother tongue. So, bodily mother tongue, you can say, whatever it means. But he's rephrasing that, Hrudayar abhadra sate, guchi betomhar. So, that all the impurities in the heart will be destroyed. And if you see, Prabhupada expresses his confidence in what sometimes in the vernacular languages, the same truths that are stated, sometimes they come out more poignantly. So Prabhupada is actually making a stronger direct statement in his songs than what is there in the Sanskrit verses. Prabhupada in this particular verse, we recite the 8th verse. This will give you a flavor over here, that Bhagavatera Katha, that the Katha of Krishna is say Taba Avatar. It is you manifesting over here. It is your incarnation. Now there are verses in the Bhagavatam which say that that this is actually not different from Krishna. Now that those verses are not there in this particular section of the Bhagavatam, they come later. But Prabhupada is making this direct assertion that Bhagavatera Katha se Taba Avatar. It is you, Krishna, who manifest when the Bhagavad Katha is spoken. And then what happens by that? Dhirahaya. That a person becomes sober. Now dhir is used in the sense that a person becomes free from the influence of the modes of passion and ignorance. Now there are different Gita translators and commentators. They have translated this word dhir in different ways. Now Prabhupada consistently translates it as sober. Now sober is often used also in terms of if somebody is intoxicated and they give up the intoxication or they come out of the intoxicated state. So Prabhupada uses in that sense. Just some of the lower modes are like an intoxication. And dhirahaya, a person becomes sober, free from that intoxication. How? Shune jadi kane bar bar. If just people again and again hear Krishna's message, then they will become sober. So Prabhupada, he's transcendental, and Prabhupada doesn't at this stage know any much about the counterculture in America, or he's not really studied American history much as far as we know. But Prabhupada still is not just going in blind, he has a strategy. It's a spiritual strategy, but it's a very clearly articulated strategy. That by hearing Krishna's message, people will become purified, they will become sober. Bar, they just repeatedly hear about it. So let's recite this. beginning of his spiritual outreach till the end, this was Prabhupada's consistent message. In the 10th canto, the 14th chapter, which is the last chapter Prabhupada commented on, there also one of the final purports, Prabhupada says that the world is filled with the modes of passion and ignorance, and these are very dangerous. And we need to protect ourselves, and that is by hearing Krishna Katha. So, this confidence, now again, here the point is not to criticize anyone, but just to highlight what Prabhupada has done. When Prabhupada's godbrothers were sent to the West, to UK, they had gone with a lot of support from Bhakti Saraswati Thakur, who actually arranged for the financial support of their entire mission. And when they came back, one of the first statements that one of his those two godbrothers who had gone, one of them said that he said to his spiritual master, "Your process doesn't work there." Now, Bhakti Thakur was so disappointed, so displeased and disappointed when he heard that. Now, it is true that he had not had success, and there could be different factors which could be considered. It is also true that a lot of things happened over there, that Europe was in a turbulent phase and the Second World War was about to happen. So many people were not spiritually receptive. There could be material factors also which could be considered. But to make that categorical assessment, the process itself does not work. And that is an unfortunate assessment to arrive at. So quite often, we can contrast that with Prabhupada. He has confidence in the process, that by hearing about Krishna, anyone and everyone can become purified. And the way Srila Prabhupada consistently emphasized, if you look at Prabhupada's life, he traveled extensively, spoke about Krishna, and he was not too much into management. When the movement was expanding, Prabhupada could have got consumed with the management. And his not getting into management did mean that, on one side, the devotees got more freedom and initiative to do what they wanted to do. On the other side, sometimes they also, and that was good for them because they were young and passionate. They would not have succeeded if somebody was micro-controlling them. But on the other side, they often did wild things, because it was not that they were ill-intentioned, but they were just extremely enthusiastic and uninformed. But Prabhupada did not get very disturbed by that. He think, okay, all this is happening, I'll stop translating my books. He was focused, he will speak about Krishna and he will write about Krishna, so that this Krishna Katha will go on. And this is not to say that practical considerations are not important. But the thing is that ultimately Prabhupada said it is an organization with intelligence that our movement will spread. So what is that organization and intelligence? It is not just material management. Yeah, that's important in its own way. But it's primarily have an organization about how we can be sharing Krishna Katha more and more. How we can be actually making people receptive to hear about Krishna. So if we hear some of Prabhupada's early lectures, 1965, 1966, the Prabhupada is speaking direct philosophy. Prabhupada is still speaking, you're not the body or soul. It may not very advanced philosophy, but Prabhupada is speaking Krishna's message. And so it is that his confidence. Now, Prabhupada took some terms from people like stay high forever and things like that. But Prabhupada focused on just giving the message of Krishna. So Prabhupada would say that old wine, new bottle, things like that. Prabhupada had confidence that the old wine is what will work. And this is what led to his diligence. So the diligence in speaking, the diligence in writing. Harishauri Prabhu writes in his Transcendental Diary that even when Prabhupada was speaking to one or two people, some guests who would come to meet him privately, Prabhupada was enthusiastic. If he had a large audience, yes, Prabhupada would become even more enthusiastic. But it was not that with a small audience, Prabhupada was apathetic. Because Prabhupada was saying that this is an opportunity to manifest Krishna through sound vibration. Now that can be kirtan, that can be katha, whatever it is, just the sound vibration. It can be so this for us, when we are ourselves infected by the modes of passion and ignorance, and we are also surrounded by people who are infected by that, we can make many arrangements and many strategies we can have. At the end of it, it is we want people to hear about Krishna. It can be an appropriate, attractive presentation, but what is going to transform people's hearts is this, that Bhagavatera Katha se Tava Avatar. That the Katha of Krishna is Krishna himself, and it is Krishna who is going to transform people's hearts. Please recite that once again.
Bhagavatera Katha se Tava
Prabhupada goes on speaking this theme that he is going to, that by the Krishna Katha things will be transformed. So, ki kori bujabo katha barase chahi. Now there is a practical problem that, okay, Krishna Katha will purify, but will they even understand Krishna Katha? So in one sense, see, there's two things. They have to understand, and they have to hear again and again. They have to also develop some taste. So, Kikar Pujavo. How will they understand? Barase chahi. This is the vara. This is the blessing I ask. Often when we pray to Krishna, in general, we want our prayers to be filled with some devotion, some emotion with it, not just a mechanical prayer. And in general, emotions are associated with specifics. Emotions are not triggered by universal or generic principles. It's very difficult to, Prabhupada said, okay, God is like the sky, but you can't really love the sky. Okay, what do you love? How do you can love, but how do you reciprocate? How do you have a loving relationship? So in general, when we offer prayers, the more specific a prayer is, the more we can be invested in that prayer. Our emotions get invested in that prayer. So if a prayer is, Krishna, please engage me in this service, or in your service, okay, that's a good prayer. That's the mode of the Hare Krishna mantra. We are already praying that through the Hare Krishna mantra. If you want to pray, no, it's a specific prayer. It's not Prabhupada is saying, give me a million followers. That's like a teenager fantasy. Prabhupada is asking for a specific prayer. Barase chahi. Later on, Prabhupada will say that, make me dance. But bara, the only place where Prabhupada uses the word that I want a blessing. The only blessing that Prabhupada asks for in this whole section is this one thing. Now, And Prabhupada expresses his determination. Now, whether you give this blessing or not, attachai necho. In spite whatever is going to happen, katha boli bare. I am going to speak the katha. And then, je tomara ichha Prabhu. Whatever is your ichha, I'll accept that. Whatever will happen. Prabhupada says everybody has come under illusion by your arrangement, and everybody can come out of illusion by your arrangement. So you are the person who are the spiritual master of the whole world. Akhila Jagat Guru. Bachana se amar. So you are the supreme spiritual master, and my words, alankruta koribar. So it's not so much, Prabhupada is confident, I have the ability to remove everyone from illusion. But he's saying that, Krishna, you are the supreme spiritual master, and you have the capacity to ornament my words. Now, this ornament is an interesting word, alankrut. So what is this ornament? It's not like some kind of special word that you can speak. Later on, when our movement started, I'll conclude with two quick points. That later on, our movement started going very big, and then book distribution started going on very nicely. So there's some devotees were phenomenal successful book distribution. So they said to Prabhupada, we have found out certain lines that we can speak to different people, and then people get won over by that. So we are planning to go to different places and do seminars and teach people these lines so they could speak. And Prabhupada actually became very grave. And Prabhupada said that devotional service is individual, voluntary, and spontaneous. He said, when the soul wants to serve Krishna, soul is inspired to serve Krishna, then devotional service is performed. He says, don't teach people specific lines. He says, inspire them to serve Krishna. And then Krishna will give them those lines from within, what is required at that particular time. So, often it is that sometimes if we say I'm humble, and it's good to be humble, but sometimes humility can become, oh, I don't have this ability, I don't have this ability, I don't have this ability. And then we feel, oh, I can't do anything. But humility is not so much about devaluing ourselves. It is more about valuing something bigger than ourselves. So Prabhupada is valuing Krishna's potency. It's that confidence in Krishna's potency. Krishna can make things happen. And it is this, alankruta koribar. You have the capacity. So our confidence comes not from our ability, but from Krishna's ability. And that's why Prabhupada later conclude by saying, Krishna, make me dance. You are the supreme master. The way you want me to dance, please make me dance. So we'll dwell on this verse. So this is the last principle that I was talking about is, it is about, there's dependence. So A was acceptance and D was diligence. So I accept the situation I am in. I am diligent about what I am going to do. But then I'll be dependent on you. I can do what I have to do, what I am capable of doing. But beyond that, it's dependence with submission. Krishna, if you want, you make me successful. It's up to you, but I am going to do my part. So again, dependence is not passive. The dependence is, yes, I'll accept whatever happens. But I'll accept whatever happens doesn't mean that I will not do my part. So Prabhupada is expressing his confidence in Krishna. And as devotees, our own inabilities should not blind us or overwhelm us so much that we forget Krishna's ability. Yes, we can do silence. 12th one, Akhila Jagat Guru.
Akhila Jagat Guru Bachana se amar. Akhila Jagat Guru Bachana se amar. Akhila Jagat Guru Bachana se amar. Akhila Jagat Guru Purivara Kshamata Alankrita Purivara Kshamata Alankrita Purivara Kshamata Akhila Jagata Guru Bachana Se Amar Akhila Jagata Guru Bachana Se Amar Alamkrita Purivara Kshamata Alamkrita Purivara Kshamata
So, among Prabhupada's early disciples, Hagiri Prabhu was one of them, and Prabhupada decided to entrust him with the service of starting back to Godhead once again. And now he said to Prabhupada, I have never done anything with a magazine except read it. How can I run a magazine? And Prabhupada said, you pray to Krishna, Krishna will guide you. So he writes something in the Hare Krishna explosion, and several other Prabhupada disciples said that if you're with Prabhupada, actually Prabhupada's conduct itself made everyone feel that Krishna was a real, living, loving person. And he was not just like an abstract, remote reality. He was a concrete, intimate presence. And Krishna would help us. We all can memorize verses and we all can analyze concepts, and all that is good. But what we get by associating with exalted devotees, Mahabhagavata, actually Prabhupada, is that conviction, not that this Krishna is God, but Krishna is an intimate, loving presence in our life. He is acting in our lives, and He is there to help us, to empower us, to take us through whatever difficulties we might get through. So that Akhila Jagat Guru Vachana Se Amar. So Krishna is not just like an abstract, oh God exists, I believe in God, He's up there somewhere. That's not his Prabhupada. It was more of it's a living, concrete presence. And to the extent we get this particular conviction, to that extent, our devotional services will be filled with much, much more energy. And then we will see that when we start doing services, ideas will start coming and Krishna will start empowering us. In the book Servant to the Servant, Prabhupada, that is basically Prabhupada's letters to Tamal Krishna Maharaj, and then how he did various services. So one of the themes which comes repeatedly in those letters is, because you are so enthusiastic trying to serve Krishna, Krishna is giving you intelligence from within. Dadami buddhi yogam tam yenamam upayantite. So this is actually the magic of bhakti, that when we try to serve, that Krishna empowers us. Krishna can empower us in brilliant ways. So we just try to serve. And then, so we are here, Krishna is here. And then Krishna guides us to serve. For us, quite often, that trying to serve itself becomes weak because of various factors. We feel my conditionings are too much, my conditions are too difficult, whatever it is. Now, Prabhupada, of course, had no internal conditionings, but still he was from a particular place, particular generation, particular accent, and then the conditions were not very hospitable. But Prabhupada's eagerness to serve was very strong, and Prabhu Krishna reciprocated. Prabhupada said, Krishna, make me dance. And Prabhupada told Krishna, make me dance, and Krishna not only made Prabhupada dance, Krishna made the entire world the dance stage for Prabhupada. And what happened was a spectacular performance that has practically no parallels in world history. In just 10 years, the way Prabhupada inspired a revolution of consciousness all over the world is something that's going to be of inspiration for thousands and thousands of years to come. And it all began over here We're extremely fortunate to be here at Srila Prabhupada's lotus feet to contemplate not just what he has done, but to contemplate that the basic principles with which he has done those things. Those principles are as alive and available to us as they were to him. So I'll summarize. I discussed about what was Srila Prabhupada's consciousness and mood. I talked about the first verse in Markine Bhagavat Dharma. I talked about acronym ADD. Does anyone remember A? Acceptance. But acceptance how? With appreciation. That Prabhupada is in a foreign land with practically nothing. But his appreciation is coming. He has opportunity to serve, even though he has no facility. But Prabhupada is not looking, he's just looking at, I have the opportunity to fulfill the instruction of my spiritual master. And he is grateful for that. Boro Krupa Koile Krishna. Then the D was, you remember? Diligence. Diligence with vision. So he's working, he's going to do his part. And we saw how Bhagavatere Katha Se Tava Avatar. So the obstacle, the challenge, Prabhupada is not seeing it from material perspective. He's seeing a spiritual perspective. The modes are like a disease, and Krishna Katha is the cure. So as those who are trying to share Krishna Bhakti, we have to make judgments. And Prabhupada is making, but it's a very non-judgmental way of making judgments, in the sense that he's not ascribing it to people being degraded. He's saying, okay, this is more almost like a clinical problem. So Prabhupada is non-judgmentally judgmental, you can say. Non-judgmentally making a judgment, basically. And the last part was dependence. He's, okay, Krishna, you can do this. So dependence with submission. Krishna, you make me dance. So if there's dependence, the dependence again is not passive. The focus is not on our inability. It is on Krishna's ability. Akhila Jagat Guru, you are the spiritual master of the whole world. And you can ornament my words. So we talk also about specific prayers. When we are trying to do a service, the more specific our prayer can be, and the more emotions will get invested in that prayer. And the more emotions are invested, the more it's like Bhajatam Priti Purvakam. So for Prabhupada, Krishna was a living and intimate presence, not a remote or abstract presence. So when we make specific prayers to Krishna, sometimes we're afraid because we think, what if this prayer is not fulfilled? But just making that prayer, making that connection with Krishna will take us closer to Him. And even if that particular prayer is not fulfilled, Krishna will open some door for us. And that way we'll be able to move forward in doing whatever service Krishna and Prabhupada want us to do in their mission. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki Krishna Bhagwan ki Gaur Premanande.
Grace Chaitanya Charan Prabhu ki.